Where's the,
Where's Sarah?
I think she had a headache or something, so she said she's not going to be coming.
So you recommend?
Yeah.
Oh, fine. No pressure.
Alright, so my name is Chris, and today's meeting will be about gun control and the issues of like gun policy in our country. This is going to be like an open forum kind of meeting. I'm going to be asking questions and then like giving my spiel on certain like topics when it comes to like guns and gun control. Just a little background, I am like a very progressive and liberal person, but I do own guns. I think that the Second Amendment is very important. You know, being, you good over there, homie? Okay. You got some cough drops. All right, so where was I? So like, you know, being an African American, you know, who is a very so being an African American who you know who likes to read about history and things like that, I think that you know, my people in this country have been at like the brunt of like a lot of like gun control legislation. A lot of times, gun control has been intended for us to take away our right to defend ourselves. I currently own like 7 guns or whatever, and yeah, so let me think, what's the first question? So first question is, how many of you guys have fired a gun before? So that's like 3 out of, I don't know, like 10 or 12 or something, okay. And do you guys own guns? No? No, nobody? Well, I guess I'm the only gun owner in the room. Technically, Madeline would probably be a gun owner too, since she lives with me, and I guess I do let her like shoot my guns that I buy. But yeah, so it's maybe like 10% of the room is gun owners. And just like an open question, you know, what are you guys' thoughts on current gun legislation, things like that? You know, what are you guys' like opinions on it?
I think that gun control is a good concept. I'm really opposed to the concealed carry bill up in the Ohio State House right now.
What is it?
Concealed carries on campus.
Oh.
That makes me really uncomfortable. I really hope that doesn't happen. I think it's a really political issue though, and so I think it's interesting to see what the campus thinks about, like other students think about it. I know student government doesn't really want to have an opinion on it until they can get like a lot of data about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that student government should get involved and release some sort of opinion on it, because I think it's going to affect the students and the campus and potential students, and I don't know.
Well,
I think that's like the big gun control thing. It's like concealed carry on campus right now in Ohio.
Well, currently I am a concealed handgun license person. I obviously don't have it on me right now, but you know, when I'm out and about, a lot of times I'll have my pistol in my glove box. And you know, on the topic of whether you should have concealed carry on campus, you know, it's like I see both. I see both sides of the argument, and I understand. Like some people say, well, it makes them feel uncomfortable. You know, people don't want to have like their classmates have firearms on them. And then on the flip side, a lot of people say that you know, well, if you allow people to have concealed weapons on campus, if there's like an active shooter, then they might have a chance to respond to that. But then again, you know, if the first responders get there and someone is shooting at a person who's trying to commit a massacre, then you know they might shoot someone who was just trying to defend themselves. So that's the main issue that I'll probably have with like concealed carry on campus. I don't really have a set stance on that issue. So. I mean, I can see both sides, yes.
I just have a question. It's like off topic, but are we talking about this because of like what happened yesterday, or does it just happen to be like ironic that we're talking about
No,
this?
it's because of the Ohio State thing. No,
Yeah.
it's just we were just like thinking of topics for our meetings, and well, I sort of like guns and stuff, and that's something we like talk about on amongst the E board, and You know, I guess I say, well, maybe I'll have like a gun control topic meeting or something.
I mean, technically, the Ohio State wasn't a shooting.
It was a machete.
You know, it was a knife in a car.
Oh,
No
there's
guns
been so
involved.
many different like stories.
Yeah, they
I
started,
honestly-
they started the reportings off from the, like, the beginning with the shooting.
Yeah, like I don't know what all went on.
He ran in, I think.
I know that he had a car and he had a
Yeah,
knife,
he
but
drove into a crowd that because they
They had a fire drill.
yeah, and then he got out and
You
started.
saw the
like,
crowd.
yeah, pull out
And
a
he grabbed
knife.
like a kitchen knife. So he had-
But you know, they stopped him because they shot him.
He had a kitchen knife on him.
That's what they said, it was like a large like steak knife. From, because they did a
That shit's
conference
fucking
afterwards.
Anybody else carry a large steak knife?
Well, Mom.
Justin?
Well, I mean, I've been hearing a couple, like, the Islamic State had just like gave out a report that said he was one of their soldiers, but who knows?
No, they're saying that he was like
They're not, he was like,
he wasn't like someone who was actually like a member of it, but
they were like,
he's like, I guess it would be like sympathetic, I would say.
it's only been 2 days in the investigation.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to jump to any conclusions on that until everything's like, you know, until they have like all the stuff they need to, you know, come forward with or whatever. Any other questions? I saw you got a hand back there.
There was about like the previous, like, topic about like having concealed carry on campus. 'Cause I can understand like people want to, because they can think that they can stop some, like, a massacre. But like my family having a background in military and police, one thing, it's actually really hard to shoot a moving target, and it's even harder in a, like a high stress situation.
Yeah, you gotta be
So you're
trained.
more likely to shoot a bystander than the actual shooter in
But
those cases.
well, let me ask you this. Let's say that someone comes in the room and they start blasting. You know, would you rather have a gun or not have a gun in that situation?
I don't think I'd be able to shoot.
I've been in a situation where I've had a gun pointed at me. You freeze if you haven't been in this situation before. You quite frankly, you freeze.
I mean, that's why I don't have like a set stance on, you know, like on that topic. So.
Well, do you think if they did pass the bill, would you carry your weapon on campus?
Probably not.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't because I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's just like it's to me it is more of like having it in my car, and like let's say if I need to get gas in like a rough neighborhood, then I'll just put it in my pocket. But then like other than that, I mean, I don't go to like a neighborhood or area where you know I need to have it on me all the time
Okay.
or whatever. But just like having it close by when I'm driving, like, you know, driving. It's like in my glove box.
But
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so my next question that I have, do you believe as a private citizen of this country, you have the right to self-defense?
No, it depends on the state, the laws, but we don't have an inherent right,
Why not?
because we don't. It was never given to us anywhere.
So if someone's attacking you, why would you not?
Yeah, you have the right to self-defense yourself,
Mhm.
but it's not granted by the state.
I thought in Ohio we had castle doctrine.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
If someone breaks in your house, you're allowed to use lethal force.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you said we don't have that right.
Yeah, it can be granted by the state, but we don't inherently have it.
Do you think we should inherently have it?
No,
Why?
because you're far more likely to hurt yourself or have your weapon turned against you than you are to be able to defend yourself. To begin with, 7 in 1 home invasion, or 7 in 3, 7 out of every 10 home invasions end up in your weapon being turned against you.
Do you think that
And
might be?
I think that was actually trained individuals. It's higher for non-trained individuals.
Do you think that might be with you know, the locations of the guns in the house, or you know, because you have an alarm system and you're alerted that someone's in your house that's
Right.
breaking in. I mean,
That's actually when you confront the person with the firearm.
yeah.
Yeah, so when you confront the person with the firearm in hand, you're 7 out of 10 times it'll be used against you.
And I mean, I'd rather still have it. So
Right, I understand you'd rather have it, but it comes out to be what's more dangerous.
yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah,
what
so-
happens if someone like, I mean, they could be trying to rape you or kill you or something. I'd rather have a gun than not have a gun. That's just how I feel.
Luckily, most home
So
invasions.
I think a big argument there is like, so you would rather shoot the person first,
Right.
which makes.
Yeah, if someone breaking in my house, why would you not want to shoot them?
Like, I think that's where the big argument is, like, it's either you shoot first to defend yourself, which makes you the shooter, the bad guy, or you let yourself get shot. Like, there's not really a good scenario
Who
there.
says that guns actually have to be lethal force though? I mean, like, in law, you should do it like by proportion, like, of how much you should respond to.
No,
If
they
someone
break
tries
into
to
my
steal my
house.
wallet, should I escalate all the way to lethal force, is the question.
I'll tell you this, if someone is breaking in my house or my apartment, which would be very unlikely because it's like a doorman and shit or whatever, but if someone was breaking in my apartment, I would grab my gun, I would say, hey look, leave my apartment, or like just sit out in the hallway until the police come. And if they come towards me, that's when I'll respond. You know, I mean, I don't want to ever have to like take someone's life, but you know, if someone's trying to do me bodily harm, then I just don't really care about their life.
But you understand most home invaders, I'm looking up the actual statistics, most home invaders aren't there to harm you, they're there to steal your stuff.
All right, well, they shouldn't be breaking in the house in the first place.
Yes, I understand that, but you just said that if they're gonna harm you, then you're gonna harm them back, you're gonna defend yourself.
Yeah,
They're
well,
not there trying to harm
Well,
you.
they're in my personal space or whatever, and I don't like that. They're in my house. So
I get that.
don't care.
Your house is your castle.
How am I supposed to?
It's more than.
How am I supposed to know if they're there to do me bodily harm or not?
Have they been sneaking around trying to get in and out of the house without you knowing
I
they're
mean,
there?
like, you know, rapists can do that too. You know, they can be sneaking around. You don't
What if
know.
you had children in your house?
Then
Would
I'll,
that change how you act as a gun owner?
yeah, it would be in a safe that I would only have
So then
access
they
to.
wouldn't be easily accessible if you needed it.
It depends how fast you can open up your safe to get to your firearm.
Like practice, do drills.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like, hey, but
Hang on,
it's
stay right there.
you know, it's like, you know, at the end of the day, still, I would rather have the ability to defend myself than not have it. So,
What about like, do you ever worry that like your kid's walking around the house at night with headphones on and doesn't respond to you when you call out?
that's
to
why I
them?
wouldn't just open fire unless I clearly can see who the target is,
Oh, okay,
or you know, and say,
okay.
you know, I ain't gonna just like see someone's like walking around my house and like I ain't gonna just like, oh motherfucker, bang bang bang. No, it's like, hey,
But that has happened.
Yeah.
and that's sad,
It's
you
happened
know.
with like people who are on your porch who are drunk and stuff, it's like, that's the issue, when is it an actual risk?
I mean, but then again, I'll say like, hey, look, you know, what are you doing in my house? And then I would like, if they try to, you know, attack me, then yeah, it's just, they ain't gonna make it about it there, so. I mean, it's just like, hey, you know, if it's, their life or mine, it's like, yeah, I want
But
you.
we're not talking about most home invasion laws.
Honestly, it doesn't matter, you don't know
You just
that.
said if it's your life or mine, it's not your life or theirs, it's
You
their
don't
life or your stuff.
you don't know.
Yeah, but
if
it's a pretty good chance.
I feel like it's a case by case.
Yeah, it is.
I
So,
feel like
you can't make
a home
one
invader
unanimous
would be more
decision.
likely to use lethal force if they saw you had a gun. Like, it would escalate the
Exactly.
situation instead of de-escalating.
And then see,
Like,
they have a
run
gun
away.
on them, if they have a gun on them, then it's like, you know, well, fuck it, of course I'm gonna shoot them now.
Yeah. They use a firearm or a weapon.
Which is-
And that's totally different.
I wanna blow it.
They're there to harm you for their responsibility.
And let me think about this. Any other? Yeah, no, okay. Let's see what the next question was. When you hear an assault weapon or assault rifle, what do you think? And what are your thoughts on them? And why?
I mean, I think of AK-47s, but I'm not familiar with everything, so. I've heard there's loopholes where they're like, technically it's not auto assault rifles, so you can't have it. I heard there's tons of ways the law is interpreted. We don't know this to this day.
Well, basically speaking, like, there's really like no unified doctrine to establish like what an assault weapon is or assault rifle, but generally speaking, it's any weapon that has like a detachable magazine. It has the ability to, it's like semi-automatic, fully automatic, and then there's like bolt action where you have to like manually put the next round in the chamber. But most guns that, actually I think all the guns I own except the revolvers are considered semi-automatic. And then fully automatic weapons are banned, usually use them. So, yeah. Any like comment?
Why do you need more than one gun?
Why not?
Because he likes his guns.
Why do you need anything more than what's like your very basic needs. So like you have a phone, why don't you just have a track phone or something? You know, you still like text people and call people.
Why don't you have more than one phone?
No, I'm just saying like why do you need a phone?
But she's asking, why don't you have more than one phone?
Huh?
Her.
I know, but I'm just saying it's like because I
Why
want
don't you have
more than one. Why would you only want one Pokemon card? You know?
It's
Because
like
it's a
ours
rare
are
card and
longer
it's worth money.
shoes.
Huh?
Because you're not,
Well, I'm just saying-
they're not into the game, and it's a card that's worth money.
Yeah, well, it's like, you know, it's like people collect things. People like having more than what's necessary.
You like having a deadly weapon
Yeah.
I feel like people
that can
look
kill
at
you or
it,
your kids.
I feel like people don't understand that it's like a collector's kind of thing, because you have people that collect figurines, and it's like the same idea, but it's looked at differently because it's,
A deadly weapon.
yeah.
It's a deadly weapon. I mean, but
I mean, come on.
it is a deadly
Yeah.
weapon. But I mean, you can use a knife or a fork or something, and I
It's a lot
mean,
easier to kill 10 people with a handgun than it is with a
Yeah,
knife.
but
What
still.
about the people who have like swords hanging above their like license plates?
My dad has that.
Is that like a gun collector, like a sword collector? Like
It's
that's
usually
still
a
pretty
trophy.
dangerous.
but it's like you know, there doesn't have to be a reason why you want to own a gun. It's just you have the right to do so.
Right.
You know.
That's
Would you
my
mind
question.
if your gun was registered, if there was like a registry? I think that would be a
Yes.
good middle ground, right?
Well, that's I was going to get to that later, but
Sorry.
yeah, it's cool. But what my stance is that anytime you buy a gun, you should have a background check and it should be registered to your name. And what it is right now is that there's like the I don't know if there is like there's not a national like registration database, but there is like you know, particular gun stores have like the registration papers, and I don't know.
Actually, you just made a good point. This is why I don't think it's a right. You have the ability to own a gun. I think you should have to get a license. Like you have to get a license to drive a car. You should have to get a license to buy a gun. You should have a registration. That's not a right. That's a privilege. That's why I don't think it's your right.
But you have to register cars to drive. But it's just like I don't think you should have to have a license to own a gun or something like that.
Right.
But if you want to do like, you know, concealed
Well,
carry,
background. Sorry.
if you want to do like concealed carry, then yeah, you should probably like take the classes and know all the proper procedures and whatnot. But I don't think you should actually have to have like what they have in Illinois, where you have to have a firearm purchase permit. I don't think they should have that. I don't think there should be waiting periods.
Why?
Because it's infringing on my rights as an American citizen.
Yeah, but it also protects the average citizen from people that aren't like you, that want to do harm to others, that are
You don't think they want to get their hands on guns anyways?
Sure, but it's going to be like Australia, where if you want to get a semi-automatic gun, you have to pay $33,000 to get one. I mean, you have the black market that involves.
I mean, fully automatic weapons are like.
No, semi-automatic. Not
Yeah, I'm
fully.
just saying that, like, because in the United States, fully automatic weapons are banned if they're made after 1986, and the prices of those weapons, since there's a limited quantity of them, the prices are like a lot. Like, I bought an AR-15 for Black Friday, which is like an assault rifle or whatever, and you know, it's semi-automatic. But if it was fully automatic, that price would go from like $700 to like $20,000.
Right, exactly.
But
That's exactly what would happen if you
What are you gonna do
required
with it?
registration.
target shoot,
Okay.
yeah.
Is there, like, do you go out often, like the rain?
Question. So, actually, never mind. That
I
was
mean,
for
you
your
guys don't
last
have
topic.
hobbies yourselves or something?
Not that kill people.
I don't kill people. I
No,
shoot.
you don't, but your hobby
Shotgun
does.
sport is fun to do, shoot out.
Yeah, no, it is fun. I'm not saying it's not fun. It's just, has the risk of
You
killing
should
people.
try it. It's
It's
I
It's
don't
on the
want to.
bucket list.
I said I don't ever want to shoot again. They just like intimidate me.
but the thing is, it's like because you feel uncomfortable with something, then why should someone else not be allowed to do something just because you disagree with it? You know what I'm saying?
Because it can cause harm to someone else's health.
Yeah, but it also gives the person the ability to protect themselves if
Yes,
necessary.
but you have a much more likely, it's much more likely to be used
So
to harm.
rather have it than
It's
not.
more likely to be used to harm an innocent individual than it is to protect someone. Unless you're a police officer.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, I know. Get a little murky, but.
For background checks, who do you think shouldn't have a gun?
A person who is a convicted felon, terrorist watch list,
Mental illness.
yeah, like.
So are you saying that someone who has like a mental illness doesn't have a right to own a gun then?
It depends on like, you know, if they see, or if they hear like stuff coming in through the radiator, yeah, I don't think they should be allowed
All felonies or just violent felons?
violent felons. Cause I think like, oh, you know, if you're like 18 years old and, I don't know, you were like selling weed to support your family or something, you get a felony. I mean, I don't, you know, you might not be a violent person, but if, you know, you're going around like beating people up and raping people and
That's
shit like
fine.
that, then yeah, you shouldn't be able to, you know, purchase a gun in the future. And, wait, what was the other
It's Frank.
question?
I was gonna go back to your home invasion thing, but.
Anyone else? Let me go on to the next question.
Can I ask you a question about the home invasion thing?
Yeah,
Are you worried about, like, where do you live? Do you live in a house or apartment complex?
I live in Tower, well, I don't even want to say it.
Is
I
that,
live
is
in- I
that,
live
is
in-
that a house or apartment complex?
It's a apartment complex.
So are you worried at all if you were to shoot at an invader, go through a wall and hit someone else?
Well, in my situation, this is like a luxury apartment building. The walls are separated by like,
Firewalls?
yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't have any weapons in my arsenal that can penetrate through concrete. Even the
Oh,
air.
well, yeah, firewalls, yeah. Most places don't have firewalls between their houses, between their apartment complexes.
You gotta learn how to aim, you gotta learn how to shoot, you know.
Oh, yeah, I just read something actually, because I did a little preparation before I came here. It was, they did a study where they had a bunch of people trained people and untrained people come in and shoot firearms and compared it to police officers' accuracy ratings. Untrained people were only accurate about 29% of the time.
That's 29%. I could be your life.
That's trained people. That
That's weird.
71% of the time was including when they hit innocents. And
But
they
how?
hit-
But if you're clearly, you know, aiming at someone, how are you going to hit someone? Like it's just like to me.
Say you miss the person and it hits the person behind you.
I know, but that's y'all. Like I have a laser pointer on my gun, so where the laser is, the bullet.
But you don't pass laws based on individuals, you pass based laws on the public.
Yeah, but we still have a Second Amendment right to own.
So, well, now you do as of 2007, you have it in the past. And by the way, your Second Amendment right only gives you the right to defend yourself against the government, not against people invading your
We
home.
gave up that right
That's
a long
not
time
reconcilable.
Yeah.
There's
You do-
no
you
one
do-
to take
you
that.
do-
No, I
State
understand, but
military.
that's what the Second
But in
Amendment.
the state of Ohio, though, you have stand your ground and
But that's not
the
the
Constitution.
but that's not the Second Amendment.
Still, it's
You don't get to claim you get the Second Amendment right to defend yourself in your home.
Oh, well. I still have the Constitution.
Yes, I agree. I agree, that is a law.
But it's, I don't get like, so, you know, if you see someone in your house breaking in, wants to do you bodily harm, why would you not want to?
How do you know that?
He hasn't released.
I don't care.
But-
They shouldn't be in my house in the
But then
first
don't
place.
include that in the
Eye for an
situation
eye
you're
is a
setting
terrible way
up.
to live.
What?
An eye for an eye is a terrible way to live. It should all
shouldn't
be
they-
peaceful.
Alright, well, it was peaceful. It was all biscuits and gravy until they broke in my house.
What's easier to run away or to shoot someone?
There's only like one entrance in my apartment anyway, so you know, I'm not jumping. I live on the
Could
fifth
you
floor.
lock yourself in
You
the
can make
room?
it.
Nah.
Well, the doors, I
No,
mean, even though
it's-
our walls are thick,
Yeah,
the doors are not the
I was
walls.
gonna say, it's one thing.
So if someone
kicking
wanted to
your door.
shoot off, kick the door and shoot off
Yeah.
the hand, you know, they probably could.
I'm not saying don't hide in your room, and if you have a gun, wait if they're trying to come in your room, shoot through the door. Like, if they're trying to kick the door in, they're obviously trying to get to you. That's different, when they're actually trying to actively get to you. But when they're just breaking into your home, most of the time stealing stuff, and you go to
Well, I
kill
want
them,
my stuff. That's my stuff.
Well, that's when we have renter's insurance,
Solidarity with them.
like replacement value.
Thursday at
That's
5.
what that's for.
So
I think it kind of depends, well, I think you're kind of right, where it kind of depends on the situation, but it kind of depends too, because if you do have someone who does have a gun, that could be your life on the line, and that, I mean, you
Hey,
can walk out
Mr.
the line.
Burglar, do you have a gun? Are you going to try to kill
No,
me?
but like if they're aggressive, obviously, then you have the right
So
to
I think it
defend
does
yourself.
depend,
I
I mean, I think.
Someone's picked your lock, come into your house, and they're sneaking around in your apartment complex.
Well, I would say, hey, look, you know, what are you doing in my apartment? It's like,
Get out.
Anybody's allowed.
you know, so I would say, like, just sit down and I'm gonna call the fucking police.
So basically you would use it more as intimidation?
It's not even make one
Huh?
sound.
I mean, the clicking of a gun is pretty intimidating.
Cat.
That's
And
true.
then I'll put the laser pointer in or something.
Someone did that to me on campus.
She
I was
was
in the
in
park,
She's
I was
in
in North
JP,
Park
she
back
was
on
in
the
Senate
fifth
last
floor,
year.
because I lived there, it was like a Sunday night. And someone in Bulger had a laser pointer on me, and I'm like, this is so fucked up.
That's actually like considered assault though.
Yeah.
Because that can technically blind you.
I think, I mean, like, obviously it was just a laser pointer, but like,
Yeah, but it
still.
can still blind you.
I hope to
Could
God
you
it was
tell?
just a laser pointer.
And she's
But
very
like,
sensitive.
I'm like, that's not a fun prank to be playing on
That's an
people,
understatement.
like.
But my question is like, you know, I want to be able to protect myself. I want to be able to go to gun ranges and, you know, target shoot. And it's like, then also too, like, it's just like my background, like my grandfather and my mom's side of the family, they came up from Georgia to escape like racism. And like, you know, I have like my great uncle, he was actually lynched. And like, you know, I just feel that in this country, the reason, or actually not feel, but the reason that there is gun control legislation, like initially, was to hinder people like myself from owning a gun. So it's like, you know, someone wants to, you know, someone like shows up in bed sheets at your house or something, like my grandpa said, well, you need to be able to protect yourself. You know, you're not gonna, you know, let your family be lynched or something like that. And like my grandfather, he always instilled that in me or whatever. So it's like just different backgrounds. And also too, I mean, how many of you guys have had friends that were like murdered or anything? Yeah, I've had a couple, and it's like something that I think about a lot is if, you know, I might be in a situation where someone wants to take my life away, and then I don't have the means to protect myself. So,
I've made it 26 years without having to worry about it.
yeah, we're,
And I lived in Cleveland, mid
but
downtown
still, you know.
ghetto.
but it's like, you know,
That
it just takes one, you know, time for someone to shoot you, and then you make a day. Like I lost my dad to gun violence, and it's like, you know, it's just to me, like owning a gun gives me a sense of like security.
How many times has someone broken into your apartment?
Someone broke into my mom's house, but we weren't there.
Okay. Would you have shot him if you were there?
Very much.
All the blue is fucking out.
You will you too. You were too young now to go to that.
Yeah, I mean, my mom didn't. I mean, if I was an adult and I had my gun on me when I was at my mom's house, yeah, to protect my mom and my two little sisters.
Does it make you nervous though that the judicial system might not vote in favor of you, or like they might not side with you in your defense?
Well, you gotta have a good lawyer. You know, I got a little money, so it's like I can afford a lawyer. If you get a public defendant, then yeah, you're just going to be sitting in a jail cell. So yeah, so but in Ohio it's pretty clear. If someone breaks into your house, you have a right to defend yourself.
As long as they're facing you.
That's not true. I don't. From what I read, it's like
Precedent.
if they are on, if they're in your household, then you are allowed to use lethal force.
Precedent from the Ohio State Supreme Court.
Hmm?
Precedent from the Ohio State Supreme Court's ruled that if their back's towards you, they're fleeing.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I wouldn't
fleeing.
shoot someone who's fleeing though.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But then again, too, it's like, you know, if someone has a gun on them and they're running away, they could still be shooting at you.
Well, yeah, no, it is different also if they're armed.
Yeah,
Like if they're armed, it's a very different story. The most home invasions aren't armed.
yeah, because if you get caught and you have, you know, they'll put that gun charge on you and you'll do a lot more.
Usually they're not armed until your gun comes out and then your gun ends up.
Yeah,
being
but
used.
you're technically considered armed if you have a firearm on your possession.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is usually aren't until they take your gun and shoot you with it.
But then that's why I don't have guns just laying around the house like that. That's, you
No,
know,
they're taking it from your hand.
how the fuck you want to just let someone take the gun out your hand?
You ever taken self-defense class?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna let them get that close to me.
It's real simple.
I'm not gonna let them get
They're
that
not gonna
close.
let you know where they are.
It doesn't matter. Like the fact that doesn't matter. It's like you're using all these hypotheticals, but it's like, why would you let someone get that close to you?
They're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna let you know. I'm over here. I'm right next to you.
But,
Like,
but
they're not gonna
if
do
you
that.
know someone's in your apartment and you're aware they're there, then it's like you should probably stay in your room and get in the corner furthest away from the door.
Right.
But it's like, you know, you call the police and whatever, and if they come into the room, you just like aim the gun at them. And you know,
Yeah, that's different.
I don't live in a box, man. You know, it's like it's not. Oh, you open the door and then
Right, again, you're arguing my case. If they're coming into your room where you are and you're trying to break into your room that you have the door locked, then that's different than if they're out in your living room and you go out and shoot them because they're there. Because you want to defend yourself. Like, that's a different case. You call the police, let them come.
This is why I feel like gun control is super complicated.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Because,
Those
like,
gun
literally you have
drivers-
all these scenarios and you can't make a unanimous decision. And there's so many different scenarios, like, where you may use a gun or stuff like that. It's just like, you'll argue and just go in circles for like hours.
I think we should look at what's causing the least amount of harm to people.
So you'd be in favor of like banning?
Yeah, me, yes, but
What kinds?
I don't necessarily think that that'll ever happen in this country. Besides for
What,
people
what, what kinds of firearms would you be in favor of banning?
everything.
Really?
Yes. And trust me,
No, I
my
don't-
both my sides of the family are from the South. They are not interested in banning firearms.
I don't think that's fair though.
See,
Like,
like,
especially
would
for,
you
like-
ban? Would you ban abortion?
No.
Why not?
Would you ban gay
Because
marriage?
just because you disagree
an
with.
individual doesn't have the right to hook themselves up to you and use your body as a filtration system.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's like you still have a right to own a firearm. So
How do
it's
you have the
like,
right to own a firearm?
because it's the Second Amendment.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Well, it wasn't.
You have a
First of all, it
right-
wasn't a Second Amendment. Oh no,
Constitutional
it is now.
document,
You're right.
it's
As of
based on
2000.
the Constitution, based on the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court.
And all that, like, oh, you have to
As
be
you
like,
say, you're right. As of
militia.
2000,
If I,
as of 2007, you're right. We do have the right to own a firearm. Up until then, we didn't. And again, they only.
because it was like, oh, the militia thing or whatever,
Right.
right? But it's like, you know, if I say, oh, me and my friend, I don't know, Carrie or whatever, you know, we'll just say, oh, well, let's just be the Holly, you know, Carrie militia. And then that, like, you know, it's like what, a militia could be just a group of 2 or more people. So,
Militia is a group that stores their weapons in a localized area.
well, I don't know.
That's
Localized
The
area
National Guard is
matters.
what turned from the militias. The militias turned into the National Guard.
But still, it's just like, once again, it's like you want to ban everything, and I just don't
Like,
find that to be.
For me, I don't like guns, but I'm not gonna say that you can't have one just because I don't like them. And it's the same thing like saying you shouldn't ban abortion just because you don't agree with. Like, not everyone agrees with your opinion. So like, I think that people deserve to own guns if that's what they want. But yes, there needs to be some type of regulation.
But when does your right to own a gun end? When your right is putting my life in danger? And that's where I draw the line. As soon as you're trying to have a right that puts my life in danger.
How am I putting your life in danger?
Yeah, it's not directly.
Well, no, it's simple. Like, say you're trying
I mean,
to.
I have a car.
Use the Texas example. The lady down in the Walmart in Texas
What was
saw
that?
someone fleeing. The guy had just robbed Walmart, was fleeing out. She drew her gun, fired 3 times at the robber, missed them all 3 times, hit 3 innocents.
Yeah,
For
that's
example, your right
that's
to carry a
aggravated
firearm.
assault.
Huh?
That's aggravated assault.
I understand, but your right to own a firearm
But how? But
put my
what
life
is?
at risk
Well, what
because
is?
she had the right to have that gun.
Yeah, but she misused it. Just like, you know, if you have a car and
I
you drive
understand.
into a crowd of people, you know, you're misusing what your car is intended
I
for.
understand. People abuse their right or misuse their rights all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what you're trying to stop, is that their right should not be there to be able to be abused to harm you.
Well, that's why you have to do education. You have
That's
to-
why we have laws.
I think it's important to, like, consider that, like, America is not, like, the United States is not like an isolated issue of what to do about guns. Like, guns exist all over the world, but America has more guns per person
270 million.
by a lot than
Yeah.
any other country, especially any other Western democracy.
Yeah, because they don't believe in
And so,
freedom.
like, don't you think that we should, like, also working in those other countries?
Can't believe you just said that.
Like was at the UK, you're only allowed to own like rifles and shotguns, and then like in Northern Ireland, you're allowed to own certain kinds of
And
handguns.
they have rich cultures of hunting, and the fox hunts with the hounds and the horses and
Yeah,
all
well,
that. Like,
I don't want the United States to be where you can't own a handgun or like a AR-15. I don't want that. I want to be able to own those items.
But what you want, what's safe for society, can be 2 different things.
It's like
But laws are there to protect society. Like,
Yeah.
we can't let what you want triumph over the safety of society as a whole.
I just disagree. Because it's like you're saying that because an object that I own could be potentially misused, and I shouldn't have that right to like own it. Then it's like you're living in a nanny state or something, where it's like,
It's just not fair.
yeah, it's not,
I'm
it's just
I'm
not,
more
it's
liberal
not
than
fair.
most.
It's not fair.
Life's not like-
Life isn't fair.
That, but
Damn
then
it.
when they want to like ban abortion because they don't like it, or or like ban gay marriage, then it's like because they disagree with it. But it's like then that's the same kind of argumentation right there.
Right, but how what you want is harming other people.
No, it's not.
Again.
I never.
No, I'm saying for gay rights, being gay marriage, your right to not want them is harming their ability to be happy.
Yeah, well, it's like
That makes sense.
it's you can use the same thing. Like I want to own an AR-15 to target shoot, and it makes me happy.
This is
when I
true,
shoot it.
but your happiness doesn't triumph.
Could you,
Your
what if you
life.
could rent the AR-15
I don't wanna rent
at the range?
Yeah.
I
Like
want.
putt-putt, you don't bring your own club to putt-putt,
So?
and you get
So,
your putter when you're there, right?
Well,
So what if they had more guns than you
I
could ever
don't want it.
afford?
I don't want to rent because then every time you go to rent it, it costs you money.
But you have to pay for it,
Yeah.
but then but you're
You rent
paying
ice skates
that
every
fee
time you go
instead of
ice
paying
skating.
the
I don't go
upfront
ice skating. I
fee.
don't know. I can't even roller skate or ice skate.
But I think that one rented by my,
And
remember that
renting
one,
is expensive.
remember that
why
one
do
store, I think it was $20 just to rent it,
No, it's more than that.
It's a lot of money.
yeah.
Like $20 or $30. For like an hour of usage of a gun. Like, and let's say you want to be there for a couple hours, and it's just the price would it's just not
But I
warranted.
bet you could get like a season pass.
Yeah, but
And
it's
that you could be
like.
like a super saver person.
But it's still like it's still like I have a right to do that as of 2007.
Yeah, good save. Overturning 150 years of precedent.
So why do you need more than one gun to protect yourself?
Not all my guns are used for protection. A lot of them are just used for like
Are you willing to give up your fun guns?
No. Sorry. I'm
But why
see.
not?
See,
Like
he
if
likes
you're
them.
That's-
protecting yourself,
What?
then why would you? I mean, I understand like the collectors and they're fun and they're shiny and they're pretty, but like, would you be willing to give up that little bit of fun if it meant like safety for everyone? Like if everyone
I
was
just
only able to
disagree.
have.
I disagree that if by me relinquishing the guns that are in my apartment is somehow going to prevent someone from being killed. I just don't agree with that.
Is it satisfying to have a collection that's locked in the safe and you don't get to see? 'Cause that would be the safe storage for
Well,
guns.
you know-
Is that still satisfying to know they're
I love
there?
you, Chris.
I don't know. It's like I don't have a safe, but when I have kids, I'm gonna definitely have like a safe. And once they are like 12 or 13 years old, I want to like teach them firearm safety and stuff like that. And if I have a son, maybe take him hunting or something.
Okay, I'm just gonna make this argument, and I hate that I'm making this argument.
Okay.
Like, they coach would smack me for making this argument. But with the thing with using something that can hurt someone, wouldn't you be happy to not do it if it wouldn't hurt someone? Well, what
But-
about alcohol and prohibition? People drive and drink,
Exactly.
and
But that's not.
drinking's fun,
But you shouldn't
drinking's
drive.
awesome, but like, no, we're all in college, okay? But like, well, if we just ban alcohol again, I mean, it would save people's lives, it would save us money, people who get medical costs from drinking, they
I
tax
won't
the
respond to that,
system.
gun grabber.
It's like, I know, this is a bad argument.
No, that's a
Yeah,
great
that's a terrible argument,
Well,
no.
When you
It's
take it
'cause-
further.
It
It's
didn't
again-
stop my- Sorry.
It's again, cost-benefit analysis. Far more people are harmed by firearms legally owned than they are by drunk drivers. Not that many drunk drivers, people are killed by drunk drivers every now. People with firearm is the third leading cause of deaths among Americans.
But do you think there's like, but hold on.
You could take-
But-
Heart disease.
Those say heart disease
You
and,
can
what's the second one?
Well, hold on. Let me ask something. But do you think that because there's so many gun deaths, there's underlying issues to that? So like, if a kid is growing up in the South Side of Chicago, and they a lot of times they want to do good, but what usually happens is that they might have to walk to school and they're getting picked on and getting like fucked with or whatever, and then they join a gang because it's like strength in numbers, and even though that gang will do bad activities, it's still like a lot of the issues relates to poverty, income inequality, things like that. And like, in a lot of areas where, it might be very affluent, they own a lot of guns, and there's just not that many homicides. The homicides are not caused by, well, they are caused by the guns, technically speaking, but the reasons why people are going out and shooting each other is because, you know, it's like this poverty. You know, it's like if, and then also if someone shoots at, you know, and kills one of your best friends, then it's like a lot of retaliation back and forth. Yeah, the access to guns is a factor, but still it's like,
It's a big factor.
Yeah,
It's a
but
lot
it's-
harder to kill someone without a gun.
but still you already have so many guns out there already. You just need to like get rid of the poverty and income inequality.
Australia did
Oh,
too.
we'll
They
just do that then.
Yeah, Australia had nearly one on average for every citizen.
Wrong person's in the White House now, so that's,
Well, I don't know. He was wrong.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna go with what Pino was saying about the whole alcohol thing. It's like when they did ban alcohol back during the Prohibition, like people still found a way to get it, so people are still gonna find a way to get guns.
Like I could have
And
bought a
like
gun
with
when I was
pot
a kid.
too.
But I saw my
It's easy
family
to
started
come
their
by.
alcohol business. My
What?
great grandfather's during Prohibition out of a car.
Like I know 15-year-old kids in Akron who have revolvers. So it's like, you know, yeah, there's
How did they get those revolvers?
they steal them.
From who?
People
People
who
like
have
you.
guns.
People
But still,
that have
but still,
guns outside
but
of their
you know
states.
what? You know what? It's like if someone steals my car, then why, you know, is it my fault that, you know?
But the argument that you shouldn't stop people from buying guns legal, or that you shouldn't stop people from buying guns legally, or buying guns in general, and that they're just gonna steal it is two different things.
Can I say that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, I kind of jumbled that up.
Yeah, that was like
So, those kids aren't going and getting them legally.
no, no.
They're stealing them from
Well,
people that got them legally.
And then also
Now-
too, well then, hold on, yeah, something too. A lot of times too is that since there's no national like gun registry or whatever, what they'll do is they'll go to like Mississippi, Alabama, they'll buy like, you know, 15, 20 guns in these states where the guns are much cheaper, they're easily accessible, and they'll drive to the major cities where there's a lot of like legislation, and they'll flip them. Like, you know, a gun that's like 500 might be $1,000, and if you have like, you know, add-ons to it, it's even more. So, you know, it's like, I think that if you want to cut down on that, you need to have something in place where people's guns are registered to them. I'm fine with that,
So
but
you said, okay.
I mean, I don't see how that would impede on my right to own a gun. As long as there's no cost associated with it, it's as simple as like, you know, just filling, you know, as soon as you buy a gun, the paperwork just goes to the ATF or whatever government agency. And they already know all your information, you know what I'm saying? The NSA spying on everybody, so it's like, I don't know. But I think that would be a good way to cut down on the
It's a good compromise.
pipeline, yeah. But I don't want to ban guns. I think that, you know, if you live in a rough neighborhood and you have to walk home, then I think you should be able to have a concealed carry on.
Again, that's my fringe belief.
Yeah,
I,
I know
even
you
if
are
I were
very
elect,
fringe.
even if I were an elected official, like I wouldn't
Yeah.
pass the you meant that just
You
'cause-
probably only be like voting in like Massachusetts or Vermont or something.
Well, I wouldn't implement that. I would do what the people wanted.
Any other?
With the whole stealing the gun, what do you feel about, like the fingerprinted guns, like you have to?
I don't know. I mean, the problem I have with that, and I know this is like a stretch, but, you know, let's say that you want to, you know, share a gun with another person, and maybe you can have multiple users or whatever. But then, like, you know, if you want to, actually, I'm in favor of that, but I'm not in favor of it being like mandatory. I think that'd be like cool, because then it would prevent like, you know,
Accident.
yeah, accidents and stuff like that.
There's not guns that require like the owner's fingerprint.
Again,
Oh.
if that were passed, then
I don't think it should be mandatory though.
well, if it was mandatory, then my idea that it should be banned goes out the door. Because not only the gun owners can use it, it can't be turned against them. Kids can't
Right.
shoot themselves, can't use it if it's stolen.
Wouldn't that be a pretty nice compromise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I just don't want it to be mandatory.
Why?
Because it's just like,
Give me
I
a
feel
reason.
like that would make the cost go up, that's why.
What if it didn't? What if it was just a standard cost, like
I
this?
guess I would be okay with that somewhat. As long as it didn't impede on the gun's functionality or whatever.
Like say you could just, you could add multiple users, and then if you wanted to sell the gun, you could log on to the state's website, transfer the ownership, and eliminate, it would wipe all the fingerprints off that gun, transfer to the new owner.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I sort of like it, but then what happens if someone hacks into your stuff or something? You never know.
What's gonna happen? Then that one person can use your gun if they.
Or let's say they just like, you know, they lock it up forever or something like that, and it's useless.
So they got your gun, they plugged it into the computer, they hacked into it.
No. Since there's like a national, like, you know, whatever thing, and they hacked in the computer and they just like locked you out of like using your particular gun or something. I don't know. I don't.
think they would be connected like that?
Yeah, like.
I don't know. Wasn't that what you were describing?
No, I was saying just in the registration, like that's how
selling
you're, that's how you're transferring ownership of the gun. Legally, you have to wipe it from the fingerprints.
Oh, but it's not like
There.
Wi-Fi or.
No, you're just, the registration, you go on there and transfer your registration of the gun to them.
I have to look into that. I have to think about it.
It was a good compromise to solve lots. I mean, that would.
I mean, but you want to ban.
That would solve my entire issue with guns, and I think we should be allowed to have guns then, because it's no longer putting the general public's life at risk.
But then again, it's like, you know,
How did that fix the issue of like accidentally shooting like the wrong person?
Well, yes, you're right. It doesn't completely solve the problem, but it solves the biggest parts of the problem. Nothing's 100% fixed. So most of the time it is you're shooting.
I don't know. Maybe I don't want to have a fingerprint ID scanner on my gun. And then there's already like 300 million guns in our country.
Mhm.
What about those?
Well, wouldn't be they'd be grandfathered in. They'd have to be all new sales.
I don't know. That kind of circuitry in a gun, it could probably malfunction since guns they get very hot when they're fired.
Yes, you're right.
And being an electronics engineer or whatever, you know, like when I fire a gun, you don't ever touch the barrel, and then like, you know, the guns get really hot. So, you know, once again, it might sound nice on paper, but
Well, they passed it up in Massachusetts.
yeah, but that's like hippie commie.
Or it wasn't Massachusetts, okay. It was like Wisconsin or something. It was a pretty moderate state, and with the legislation status, the first as soon as it was.
But it's like you still don't want people to have the ability to own them. I just don't understand.
Well, that's not, okay.
I don't get it. It's like, why do you want to infringe on my abilities on a gun? And then
Because
also,
your
you
right to
know,
own a gun
but
infringes
it's like,
my right to life.
I'm not gonna, then don't break in my house then.
I'm not planning on breaking into your house, but you
What
put,
if he lived next door and was out mowing his lawn while someone was breaking into your house and you aimed right over his shoulder and hit him with the lawnmower?
See, that's just like those kind of hypothetical situations. Though it's like,
But it's like those things happen.
yeah,
That's the
but I
issue.
still rather have it than not have it.
that,
I mean, how far do you take that logic? Because it happens with cops, so should cops not have them?
well,
Yeah.
I mean, they're starting to make that case for themselves.
I definitely.
That's a different argument.
Well, and actually, that can lead into another topic. What are you guys' thoughts on the militarization of the police force?
What do you think?
That cop stopped on stabbing within 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think that in a lot of situations, you know, since our country is so heavily armed, that the reason that they have like the tanks. I don't know if you guys ever watched Straight Outta Compton, where the guy basically. Yeah, that was a good ass movie. You guys should definitely watch that shit. But they had the battering ram, and the reason they have that is because, like, you know, people will be inside with steel door. They'll like you know, be ready to go. With the battering ram, you just, you know, take out the whole entire front side of their house. Now there is the risk of injuring people who are innocent, such as children or whatever. But then again, it's like, you know, people can own, you know, weapons that can pierce through armor and stuff like that. Like, why would you want to just have a 6-shot revolver, you know?
That's why they shouldn't be allowed to have those.
But it's just, you know, it's, I don't know.
It's your right.
Yeah, it's
right?
my right. It's
Yeah.
my right, yeah.
Yeah, it's your right to kill cops.
But you
not
just
buy
need,
armor.
no, it's not. See, you're putting
Well-
words in my mouth. But it's just like, you know,
What else are you gonna use body armor piercing rounds for?
I don't have body armor. Well, technically
But-
speaking, a lot of like the rifle ammunition, I would probably say is like can probably pierce the armor. I think
Not
most.
considered ammo.
Huh?
That's not considered armor piercing rounds. They have to be sold. They have to be sold especially, and they're more expensive than the standard rounds that you can buy
I
from
don't know,
any.
I just have like a couple thousand rounds of ammo. My grandfather, My grandfather, he has dementia, and I got to inherit a lot of his ammo.
Okay, great. I'm glad.
No. Like,
We heard it from.
yeah, he's in the nursing home. I have access to it, but you know, it's like, you know, pass it down to me, or my grandma did.
I thought you were about to say he has his gun.
No.
Holy crap.
Well, that's the thing too. I think like, you know, once you have dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that, yeah, you should probably have your gun taken away. So, I don't know, any other questions?
Because if you think everyone has the right to own a gun, but you're saying that certain people don't have that right, isn't that kind of?
Yeah, because they're mentally incompetent. Like my grandpa, like, he has dementia mixed with like what they call back then like shell shock, and now it's called PTSD. And like, you know, he was in a nursing home saying that he was under artillery fire because he fought in the Korean War, and it's like, you know, and he's literally like having flashbacks. So, you know, if he's like that mentally unstable, then no, he shouldn't. But if someone is like myself, his grandson, who is completely normal for the most part, and you know, wants to go out and hunt or target shoot or just have, and the thing is like when you ask the question of why, I don't have to have a reason to why I don't own a gun. I just can't, because it's my right to do so. Since
As of.
well, and then that's another thing too. It's like, you know, America has such a racist history where, you know, they don't want to have certain minority groups own firearms, and I just see like gun control as being somewhat racist in terms of like, you know, the United States. I think that if black people 60, 70 years ago and then before then had access to firearms like we do now, there wouldn't have been as much violence towards us. You know. Yes, gun.
I say, but the laws wouldn't apply to just one race now if you were to ban them. It wouldn't apply to all.
Yeah, well,
But
it's
you're
just-
right.
but it's like,
You're
it's
right
just like
back
once
in the
again,
past.
once again, it's like you're impeding on my rights as a U.S. citizen because you want to ban everything.
I mean, going off the idea that, your idea that some people shouldn't have the right to carry, like, former felons and that stuff, well, other rights do have limits on them, even in the Constitution, voting rights. The Constitution says that the states can create disenfranchisement for certain crimes. So people who are in many states, if you commit a federal crime, you can no longer vote after you get out of jail. That's even in the Constitution. I'm not saying that's a good thing that you should be able to vote, but constitutionally, there's ground for that.
You can lose your right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, once again, I just don't have the right to do so. It's just like, you know, I don't really care if someone feels uncomfortable with guns or not. It's just, that's my right. Any other questions?
I don't think that's going to last for very long, unless Trump gets
Well, actually, one thing I do like about Donald Trump is that he's wanting to make it so like your concealed handguns licenses works in every 50 states in the District of Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He likes that today. Tomorrow, I mean.
Well,
It
you
might be
know,
only white people that can do that.
I mean, well, you know, I'm actually 25% white, so maybe there might be good or something like that. But
Only if he
25%
decides.
of the
Only if he
states.
decides that.
I think that's stupid.
Only if-
What do you think about gun carry?
Personally, I think they have a right to do so, but me personally, I think that it's sort of silly to like walk around with an AR-15 on your back to go target.
do that around Akron.
I just think it's like silly.
Well, that's.
Well,
I mean, I get they're trying to make a point, but
you're
still.
inside.
I didn't but I didn't like it.
Yeah, no.
I think that this position
Other
should
thing is
stay
like,
strictly.
we were talking about this with Phil Marson. I was talking with Phil Marson.
I don't know who that is.
Dr. Marson?
Don't know who
Oh,
that
he's a
is.
professor here.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
I feel uncomfortable around firearms, all right? There was a time that I was considering getting a firearm because I wanted to shoot some people that I saw have firearms. Do you worry about that kind of thing happening? To
Well,
where
then
I'm
if you want
threatened
to
because
give
I,
people bodily harm, then you should not have a firearm.
what?
If you want to, you know, try to kill people, then you shouldn't.
I don't want to kill people, I want to defend myself because I feel threatened by that person, whether or not it's rational or not.
Well,
Irrational
it's
or
like
not.
you don't have to have a reason to own a firearm. You just have one.
Yes, I know, but I feel threatened by it.
So how would you propose stopping the behavior of the person trying to harm you in the first place?
Let me stop your behavior. I don't know.
Like the person trying to harm you that you're protecting yourself from, how would you suggest stopping that?
If someone breaks in my house, this is what I do. I say, hey, look, you're not supposed to be here. Put my shit down and get the fuck out. And I'm gonna call the fucking police. Alright? And I'm gonna give my I want to be yelling at them
So you're gonna let them know where you are.
give my
That's a good
fucking crazy
example. That's a good
face and
idea.
shit. And then, well, no, I'm gonna be like, hey, look, I have a red
So you're
dot on
gonna
your
show
head.
them where you are.
No, I have a red dot on your head. Don't fucking move.
Oh, so you're assuming you can see them.
Huh?
You're assuming you can see them.
See all these hypotheticals.
No, not hypotheticals, just
All these hypotheticals are ridiculous.
basic stuff.
But wait, sorry. What was it?
So the person who's trying to harm you has a gun, has something he can harm
Well,
you
they have a
with.
gun and I want to shoot them.
So how do you propose stopping him from, how do you propose stopping the bad guys from getting guns? Because not all of the bad guys have a mental illness that you can put a red stamp on.
Well, that's the problem. It's just it's a compromise. You have the right to own a gun, but then there probably will be people who abuse that right and become bad guys. I don't like that. I don't like that NRA rhetoric. A bad guy or a good guy. It's
So it's completely cramped.
I don't. But it's you need to have. I don't know. It's you need to look at psychologically. Why do they want to do harm to people? You need to do things like that and try to prevent them from, if they are a threat to society, then get them help and make sure they can't buy a gun. Does that answer it? Or
I'm already stressed about it.
any other questions?
No?
Well, I think.
So do you think it would be a safer society if no one had guns?
Well, we don't live in that society. We
No,
live
I'm
in
asking, do you think it would be a safer society
Well,
if we had lived in that society?
Hypothetically, take away all the guns.
Like Australia.
if there was no gun in this country whatsoever, yeah, it might be safer.
Say it ended up getting decreased to 30,000 guns in the country. Yeah, I know, it's a big
Only rich
decrease, right?
motherfuckers only have this gun.
Or people that have illegal guns. And
Yeah,
actually,
but it's still criminals don't follow law, so it's they're still willing to try to get a gun.
no, but great example is bombs with Al-Qaeda, or not Al-Qaeda, with terrorists in general. When we made it harder for them to get guns, they stopped using bombs and switched over to firearms. Same kind of thing, when certain countries over in the Eastern Hemisphere made it harder to get guns, so they started using cars.
I mean, I don't think it should just be the Wild Wild West where you can just buy a gun, but then you say they can just run people over. Well, it's still, it's just once again there's underlying issues to that problem. Why does someone want to run over a crowd of people? How do you prevent their motives from
So shouldn't that be the more prominent issue, is addressing that?
trying to find ways to de-radicalize people and what else would I say? I don't want to say an immigration ban, but you have and we already have a system in place where it is a very very hard or strict immigration system. My grandmother, she's a Swiss immigrant, which is a little bit different from being south of the border. They don't, she's not under so much scrutiny, but it's even with her, she still has to go through a lot of things to renew her registration.
Yeah, her immigration status.
Because she's not going to give her upper Swiss citizenship for American citizenship. Yeah,
That sounds like a good idea.
it's just a little better over there. But I don't know. It's just people are always going to have access, or if they want to do if someone wants to do harm to someone else, then they'll find a way. It's just like how they spent all that money on that Wyatt Bridge, putting a fence up there because people was jumping off the bridge because they was killing themselves. Yeah, you can find another bridge or another high location to jump off a bridge. It's just if someone really wants to do something, then they're probably going to.
So you don't think we should try to stop them?
Yeah, we should try to stop them by.
You're
But banning the guns and things like that, which law-abiding citizens have and own or whatever, it's just that's not going to solve the issue. Just like with the prohibition argument.
Prohibition argument's a horrible argument.
No, that's not a horrible
Yeah, it is, because a lot of people drink and don't harm others. Well, if you're firing a gun, you're most likely harming someone.
I mean, you fire in a range, you're not harming
Yeah,
anything.
you're right, you're right. If
Harming
you're
a target,
right.
that's it.
And if you're
If you fire a gun,
drinking,
you're
in your
most
basement, you're
likely
not harming anyone
to
either.
fire.
I mean,
Well, I'm just saying that argument's like low-key invalid.
Not
Just
the
like,
point
yeah, the
of over
prohibition argument may be
kind of
bad,
stuff.
but it applies the same way in a sense, so.
Just because you ban something doesn't mean that you're going to reduce homicides and stuff like that. I mean,
I think Japan, China,
well, that's
Australia,
good for
the
them.
UK, all this.
They
No,
have.
you said it doesn't though, and they disagree.
Well,
Their stats disagree.
How are you going to, confiscate 300 million firearms?
Australia had a voluntary turning.
Well, I don't want to turn mine down, so I don't give a fuck.
Well,
I'm not a criminal. I can have it. So
we're gonna keep having mass shootings. I mean,
I don't get how my AR-15 that's in my apartment grows legs, and then will commit a mass shooting. Yeah, the
Sandy
person.
Hook, legal gun owner had the gun. Her kid took it and went and shot up Sandy Hook.
Well, then that's the issue. Why does the kid want to shoot up the school? Is something wrong with the boy?
It's a firearm. I go to the root. I wouldn't try to solve the
I
condition.
mean, are we gonna fix?
It's so
the issue
irrational,
and
though.
fix the symptom, gun violence? Gun violence is the symptom. We should
Gun
focus on the
violence is-
actual issue with mental health.
Gun
We
violence-
should reach out to these kind of people.
And then the
before
poverty.
they-
You
Gun violence is
shouldn't cut
there
after school
for as an
programs.
opportunity.
You shouldn't cut after
But
school programs.
she should still have the gun, even though she had a disabled son. Then should she legally have had that gun?
She should have had it under lock and key so he can't access
Should
it.
she legally have had it in a locked and key safe?
Well,
But
there
she's
are
still
laws.
alive today.
Hold on,
Would she
hold on.
be
There's
punished
laws
or
in the
would she
books.
be jailed
There's
or
laws in the books that state that, basically if you have a minor, and I know he wasn't a minor, but if you have a minor in your household, you need to make it so they don't have access, or the guns in your house are not easily accessible. So, maybe that could apply. I
That's
don't
state
know.
by state cases.
But
I mean, again, you compromise, like you were
I
talking
mean,
about.
but you're on the ban everything.
Yes, because no one's willing to compromise, so I'm saying forget compromise then if you're not willing to do anything.
I'm willing to compromise.
Yeah, I
by
know
having
you
a
are,
gun
but the
registry.
gun lobby isn't. They're not willing
Yeah,
to
but
do
the thing is,
anything.
the NRA does not represent all the gun owners out here.
No, but
Sounds
they're
like you do
only
though at some
employed.
point.
Huh?
I mean,
Sometimes it feels like you do
NRA
that.
don't agree with not having, don't mind.
There's
My grandfather's-
there's like a black Huey P. Newton firearms club. There's like hunting clubs. There's there's a lot of groups out there. Yeah, the NRA just has the most power.
When my hobbies start killing people, I'll let them take my hobby away.
But
Simple as that.
but it's still like you it's just like
If me
that's-
trading cards starts killing people, I'll stop trading cards. Sorry. It's a pretty simple equation for me.
then maybe
So
you should stop
irrational.
driving. Yeah, that is. Isn't that irrational?
Yeah.
I mean, then you should just stop driving a car because your hobby could potentially kill a shit ton of people.
Okay, is likely to.
So
kill
take all the
someone.
knives out of your house then. Don't use a knife to
But
cut.
Have you
ever
Like,
watched,
that's gonna
Nightmare
kill
on Elm
someone.
Street? Unlikely to kill
Use it.
Not Nightmare on Elm Street. What's the one with the knife? Michael Myers. What's that? Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And
Where a supernatural zombie went around killing people. Yeah.
with a knife.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
a supernatural zombie, you can
Yeah,
teleport around.
and then
killing
also in
people.
those countries where there are gun bans, they also have a lot of knife attacks too.
Yes, they do, but only at like a tenth of the rate that they had gun homicides before they
Yeah, but
banned it.
they also-
They
they
a
also-
lot lower population for Australia. It's like 23 million.
It's
United
on a,
States.
But they also
it's on
have-
a per population, or it's on
Per
a
capita.
per capita
No, but
basis.
it's more
But-
difficult to get rid of all those guns.
But in those countries they also have single payer health care. They have so many things in place that alleviates poverty. That it sort of fixes the issues that causes the gun violence in our country.
I had to look at the stats for poverty versus, I had to look at the stats versus poverty from
I
us
mean, like
compared to other countries.
Norway and Finland and all those countries, they
Yeah, small populations are able to have social programs that lift up the poor, yeah, you're right. We're talking about Japan, Australia, those places don't have stuff like
But
that.
then if you put the entire EU into one country, and actually the UK would not be part of the EU, but the other countries in the EU currently, they have lower poverty rates as a whole. And that's like how many people? 700
I
million
don't know the
people.
rates of
Yeah. So it's like, Germany has like 130 million people, and they have single payer health care. They have all these different things, and we can have that on our scale, which is only be like 3 times less or something. So, yeah, some of these countries might be very small, but there are some countries that do have a larger population that are able to fix their issues. And, you know, and also, you know, like, it's just so many things that makes America bad, such as, you know,
Gun rights.
no, like the poverty, the bad infrastructure, you know, like the cutting away at the social safety nets, and it makes people, you know, it makes people do things that they probably wouldn't otherwise do if there was something out there to help them. I know a lot of drug dealers, and most of them said that they would rather be in my shoes, you know, ready to graduate next semester as an engineer, than having to worry about being arrested every time they're out selling drugs.
Right.
It's just like they might grow up in an environment where that's not accessible,
Right.
and I think we need to fix that problem. And
Good.
you know, we have a lack of resources. People will fight over those resources. So I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not saying wealth redistribution, but you know, it's sort of not fair. You know, it's just not fair in our country.
Life isn't always fair.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Welfare, I mean, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, none of that's fair.
Anyone have any other questions?
Sorry, guys.
Anything else? Anything? No. Okay. Well, thanks for. Oh, my legs hurt.